Hey guys, it's Annemarie, and today I'm actually at home in Anchorage, Alaska, because that's where I'm from, for just 1 week, or actually less than a week. I thought this was an appropriate time to wear my USC sweater. This isn't actually even mine, it's Jacob's, because I thought it was mine and I took it. So it's really big, and I always think I can pull these off. My mindset is like, oh, I'll wear like a big sweater, a big baggy sweater, and then I'll look smaller, but it's usually like the complete opposite. I look like a marshmallow, and now I'm starting to sweat. So last year around this time, I did a freshman reflection video, and it's basically where I reflected on all aspects of my freshman year. It's really easy to forget, you know, like the struggles or successes that you've overcome during a certain year, so I think it's kind of interesting to document it. Last year, I think that I kind of sat and took the time to write out everything that I wanted to talk about. This is kind of more of me just talking to the camera rather than it being like an outline video of things that I've already thought about. That is a coffee machine because I just made coffee in my USC mug, so I'll just wait for that to pass. And so if you want to watch my freshman year reflection, I feel like a lot has changed, and I could just tell from watching it. It kind of brought me back to those times where I just kind of didn't like my school. Like, I didn't have a great freshman year, and there was a lot of things that contributed to me not liking my freshman year and me not liking USC very much. That was just like all in a big pile and just like sent to me. It just brought me back to those feelings, and I was like, kind of felt a little bad for myself. Even though sophomore year was probably equally as weird, it was also more of a transitional year for me as well. Like, freshman year, I honestly feel like I didn't even really go to USC because I was so disconnected from the school and just like so disconnected from the people and just met the weirdest people. I honestly think I'm gonna do a storytime video on the people that I met. So this is like the first year that I really felt like I was kind of more a part of the community. I met a lot more people, and it was weird because I lived with 8 other people or 7 other people in an 8-man apartment, and I really didn't know anyone in the apartment. They were actually all part of the same sorority. And so at first I felt a little bit like uncomfortable. That was kind of a hard adjustment. The girls ended up being like nice. We're not super close still, but that was also just very interesting. And I kept having to switch roommates because Zoe, who was my roommate during the first semester, went abroad, so I had to get a random roommate. And then she ended up also not living with me during the summer, so I had to get another random roommate, but one of my other roommates took her on as a roommate, and I like paid her because I wanted a single so I could be able to film. And I was actually able to film like a lot more videos this summer, so I was actually glad that I did that. But basically what that summed up to was just a bunch of transitioning. So it was a lot of getting used to in terms of actually like where I lived. Just like an entire new social aspect, social life, just different situation and living. I went from kind of living in a dorm that was so antisocial. Apparently, the person that took over Zoe's lease for the summer lived the next door down from us in our freshman year dorm, and I literally had no recollection. She told me that, and I was like, no way. So that's how disconnected our dorm was, our freshman dorm. I went from having that as a living situation to being in an apartment with 8 people, and very loud, social, like outgoing. Yeah, just like a lot going on in that living situation. So it was definitely a transitional period, definitely a learning experience. I learned so much. I have so many stories from that. And then this semester, or this year, I also joined a sorority. I joined AD Pi at USC as a sophomore. So that was also something that kind of played a role in my social life. So I'll try to kind of talk about all of those things. I'm not really sure if I'll like touch on everything that I mean to. There's a fuzz. But yeah, this video is just gonna be all over the place. Do you guys see that? Like, I wonder if my camera's good enough. Like, I just got it. Oh my God, I feel like that's so rare to actually catch a fuzz. Wow, I'm impressed with myself. So the first thing that I talked about in my last video was like kind of my social aspect of college, because typically I think when other people sometimes think about USC, like it's a good school, but you kind of also associate it with being like a very social school and like a party school maybe, and think about the football team and like the tailgates and like parties, blah, 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 Greek life, all that stuff. But me being an introvert, me not having like a good social environment in my freshman year, it was kind of hard for me to make friends. But this year I can say that I think I made a lot more friends. I joined my sorority, like I said. I don't really know the rules, but apparently you're not really supposed to talk about it. So I'm just gonna like not explain anything. I don't know, I really just, no one actually tells you like what you're not supposed to talk about. But basically, I really like the girls that I have met in my sorority so far. I think they're all like really, really nice, down-to-earth people. And that's actually very hard to find at USC sometimes, just because there's so much materialism and just like fakeness, I don't know, like social climbing at USC that I notice. So it's hard to find like people that are down to earth and like normal, in my opinion. Just like nice, genuine people is like what I look for in friendships and relationships. If I don't see those qualities that I find like valuable in a friendship, like loyal, like good, genuine person, the list goes on, I just like kind of discount them. I'm like, I'm not really gonna pursue a relationship with this person and a friendship. And that's just like how I feel about a lot of people at USC. Like I wouldn't actually be friends with them because they wouldn't be good friends. So I've met a lot of girls who actually like have those qualities that I really like in friends. So that's good. And another social aspect that I totally did not mention that I'll bring up now is I started dating my current boyfriend, Jacob. This was actually really funny because when I was watching my freshman video, I'm like really tripping on my words today. So last year I broke up with my ex-boyfriend in January, and then in my reflection video, I literally said I don't see myself wanting to be in a relationship at college, in college. But lo and behold, I'm in a relationship. So Jacob and I started dating in January or December. He's gonna get so mad if he watches this. Jacob and I started dating in January, and it's honestly been such a great time. I don't know what to say about this. Like, he's a very social person, so I feel like my social life has increased like immensely just because he has a lot of friends, and since I'm dating him, I've kind of like adopted those friends as my own friends, you know? So I'll like hang out with him and his friends, and I actually really like all of his friends. Like I feel like they're really good friends because they have like all the qualities that I really like in friendships or in friends. Kind of balances me out because I'm like not as social. I'm like pretty introverted. He's like pretty social and he's pretty extroverted. So it's a good mix. Last year I mentioned that I was thinking about transferring, and I think it's just because I didn't really feel a sense of belonging because I didn't have my own friend group or like my own community at USC. It was honestly to the point where I just didn't make any friends, and I'm just not used to that because in high school like I had my group of friends, and in college it just didn't even cross my mind that I wouldn't really make the friendships that I wanted to. So I was getting like to the point where I was self-conscious. I just thought there was something wrong with me and how I was, and that was the reason why people didn't want to be friends with me. And I think dating Jacob and like talking to him more and just hanging out with him made me realize that it wasn't really me, it was just kind of the situation that I was in, you know? So that made me like a lot more confident with making new friends, and I expressed to him that that was like something that I was kind of upset about, was just not making any girlfriends. And he's like really sweet, so he tried to help me make friends and stuff. But I can say that I'm a lot happier with my group of girlfriends that I have. And I think that it's only gonna like get better this next year, so that's a good thing. So yeah, I think that's like pretty much it for social life. It's getting really hot here. Honestly, like, this makes me seem like such a loser, but I don't even care. I would just like try to be as honest as possible. But I do wanna mention something towards the end of this video that I think is like a very serious issue that I will continue talking about later. But this video is already so long that I'm gonna kind of like try to speed through this a little bit more. The next thing I talked about in my last video was academics. I've done a lot better of a job at, you know, making sure that my grades don't define me. I said that was a goal in my last year's video. I'm like fine with that now, but I'm still gonna try to like get as good of grades as I possibly can. So this year I didn't get nearly as sick as I did my freshman year. I think I was able to build my immune system more, but one of my roommates actually had a huge health scare where she actually had to take the rest of the year off at college. I don't know the exact details of it because I didn't really want to pry because it's really not my business and I didn't know her too much, but it started off with uncured strep, and she literally was out for 2 full semesters. Moral of the story is take care of yourself, always prioritize your health, never, you know, overwork yourself because it's just not ever worth it. And I can say the same from my experience my freshman year. I got up really early, stayed up really late trying to like study or whatever, and it ended up just not helping at all. It was no good, so definitely prioritize health. So this next thing that I really wanted to touch on was something that I read. I don't know how I found it. Oh, I think someone posted it on Facebook. I don't know if you guys have heard this story. It's about this girl named Madison, and she went to UPenn as a runner, so she was on track. Basically what the article says, I can link it in the description box below, but basically what happened is Madison was a freshman at Penn, and she wasn't really having a great time, and it was obvious because when she went home, she would kind of like talk to her home friends about it and express how she like wasn't really making the friends that she wanted to at Penn like she did at home. And I guess I kind of read it like a little while ago, but I guess she just kind of felt like she didn't belong, but she didn't want to transfer. She just was really unhappy. She was depressed, and she ended up taking her life. So I kind of wanted to touch on that because she was a freshman when she did take her life, and the reason why she did it was because she wasn't, I guess she just wasn't happy during her first year at college. I can speak to that because during my first year of college, I just felt really, really out of place. I was not happy, and I was depressed. Like, looking back on it, I was definitely like just not in a good place. Like, I was never suicidal just because I have a really, I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't or people who are suicidal don't have this, but I've talked to my mom about one of her friends whose daughter committed suicide, and I just know that that's not ever an option. But I mean, when I was going through that time, I did think about how like it was kind of pointless. I was like, my life is like literally pointless. I'm not happy about it. It's just not fun. So I do kind of know how one could go through those steps to take their own life, I guess. Yeah, I just read the story and it made me so sad. It's just like a very, very, very sad story because I really related to this girl who just felt like she didn't fit in, didn't belong. There was like no point of, you know, whatever she was doing. But the difference between like my story and her story is that she no longer is able to continue her story because she took her life. So I kind of said this in my last video when I was saying like make your first year at college a transitional period, and just know that if you're not having a good time, that it is, and you should allow this to be a transitional period. And I just want to like stress that and emphasize that because that's exactly how it was for me. But now, a year later, I feel like there's so much going for me. I'm a lot happier with USC, and I knew that I would be after my first year. But there was like that point in time, even during my sophomore year, when I was like, I don't really know why I'm going here, what I'm doing here, like why I'm going to this school. Even though I've been planning on addressing this, I didn't ever plan out what I was gonna say. But my friend Catherine, who has a YouTube called Cather Out, also just recently posted a video about how one of her best friends committed suicide because she just wasn't happy after her first year of college. I don't know how common this is or if it is a common thing. I could relate to this article up until that point, but it just made me so sad thinking about it because just knowing where I am now in my life and where I was back then, there's just like a huge difference of happiness and of like hopefulness, of excitedness for my future, and I would never be able to experience that if my pathway had ended the same way that hers did, that Madison's did, or that anyone who has taken their life did. So I guess like my stance on this is that it gets better. If you're not happy, and it's a really understandable time to not be happy in your life. It's a really, really hard adjustment period. You're on your own for this first time sometimes. And for me, like I just felt like something was wrong with me. I don't think I could have done anything at the time to make myself happier and like get myself out of that little like phase or period of unhappiness or depression. It's getting really hot. But it did get better once I was able to kind of adjust more and come back for the second year. And I actually do know people who have transferred. Like, not every school is gonna be for everyone. Like, I definitely know that USC is not a school for everyone. I guess the moral of my story, at least, is that it does get better, and to reach out to people or to tell someone if you're really having a difficult time, because people in your life are 100% going to want to help you overcome that period of your life. My camera just beeped or turned off, telling me that I'm talking too much, so I think that's all I'm going to say in this video. And I'm sweating and it's hot and I want to take this off now. This is a mistake. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be coming out with a new video shortly, but in the meanwhile, check out my vlog channel because I just posted a vlog on there, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.